Good old days, 3 months ago, when we were allowed to do things like go to outdoor cafes and sit and have a cup of coffee, or maybe a late evening drink or a little dinner. And the outdoor cafe would have trees that are lit up. And you think of just how charming that is and how pretty it is. There's a relatively new brand name here at QVC that you won't find anywhere else, and that name is Garden Reflections. These are their brand new 7-foot lit plum flower trees. I've got two colors. I've got a yellow and I've also got a pink. The whole idea here is to be able to offer you elevated designs for home, patio, and garden that really gives your outdoor space a very, very special feeling. And I think this does it beautifully. It starts off with gorgeous silks, a really attractive 7-foot tree design, and a price tag of $175.50. There's a lot of features to talk about. I'm going to bring my buddy in to help us out. We are still social distancing here at QVC, so I get to introduce you to Judy Goss, who is our representative for our Garden Reflections. How are you doing? How are you today?
Good morning, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's great to have you back. Can't wait till the studios are open fully and we can bring you back in and you and I can work together a little closer. But I knew this was something that you and your team were really excited about being able to launch today, because this gives a whole new element to outdoor design, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it can go outdoor and indoors. So if you don't have a place for it outdoors, it can easily go indoors too. And Dan, 600 LED lights. I mean, it's hard to find a tree that is so elegant and so delicate and beautiful with 600 lights on it.
Even when it's not lit, it's gorgeous. But when it is lit, these are the tiny little rice lights, the ones that almost are invisible to the eye when they're not illuminated. And it's just enough to be able to give you that kind of romantic glow. And we'll bring our lights down even more. And there's different settings on it. So I can have the lights on like I do right now at a steady, but then there's also a controller box where I can make it twinkle, which becomes magical. Or I can go with kind of a slow fade in and out, or a fast fade. And the quality of these lights is truly second to none. Your team did a wonderful job with this.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited, as you mentioned earlier, bringing that charm of when you're sitting out at a restaurant or a cafe outdoors and, the sun goes down and it's a magical feeling. And like you said, also, we're going to be spending a lot of time this summer at our homes. We're going to be having a lot of celebrations there. And this is like your piece de resistance. I mean, when people walk in and see this, or when the sun goes down and they, start to just come together and feel that magical feeling. Dan, I don't know if you realize that a plum tree traditionally symbolizes hope and thriving through adversity. So this is something that not only looks great, but it's so meaningful.
Good timing. It's really good timing.
Totally.
Yeah. Judy,
and it's a conversation piece, too.
Months ago, back in October, my wife and I had scheduled some vacation, which happened to be the last 2 weeks. And with things having changed in the world, going somewhere for vacation was no longer, even an option. So a lot of that vacation time was spent just out on our little back deck, just kind of sitting out and relaxing and kind of putting the world away for a little bit. And for a lot of us, again, that deck space that we have, or the backyard space, we already pretty much have a lot of it done. You have your plants already planted for your spring, and you've got your patio furniture. I'd mentioned it earlier. It's little touches like this that you add to what you have that completely changes that feeling and makes it even warmer than before.
It's our staycation. And I just want to mention, too, that these branches, you can fan them out and put them in different positions and really just tailor it to whatever space that you put it in.
Yeah, it's the amount of work that made this happen. When people see the price tag and see $175.50, I think that's extraordinarily reasonable. Each one of these branches is actually a metal-formed branch that has been individually wrapped and coated with that brown coating that looks just like bark. And then each one of these lights, hand strung, each one of the silk flowers is hand applied. But if I want to bend that in some direction, I can do that to morph it and make it shape the way I want it to be. It's also, again, 7 feet tall, so it's big enough to make a statement whether you use it indoors or whether you use it outdoors. That's a really neat piece.
Super easy to put together too.
Do you have some time later on? Because I'd like to have you call back, because you and I get to talk about your 8-piece patio light set, all done in solar. And we'll be doing that later on in the program, okay?
I always have time for you, Dan. Thank you.
You're the best. Thank you, Judy. All right. All right, let me ask you a fast question. Patio chairs. Comfortable? Probably more comfortable